Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. Just focused on Bitcoin really. Depending on how I feel, I might talk about some other stuff. But really, Bitcoin is sideways to the max. It's up, it's down, and then it's up, and then it's down. But basically, it's in this tightest little range possible. There has been a short signal generated on the 1 hourly, which should be able to take us down to 42,600. We're basically there already, to be honest. Outside of that, moving to a 4 hourly, we're looking for a golden cross retest, where you might be looking for a decent bounce, which is again 42,400. So 42,400 seems on the cards today. And if we're going to get a bounce that could take us up and above our previous candle body highs on this 4 hourly, it's about 43,500. Again, small moves. Small moves, then that's how it's going to happen. That's how it will play. So it'll bounce basically from 42,400 and it'll take us to 43,500. So $1,100 move. Not too bad. However, if we do lose this area, then yeah, the consolidation continues. And I'm not suggesting that we lose this area. But if we did, then the lower low gets formed down towards probably 38,000, maybe even a little lower. But until then, 42,400 area, maybe even down by another $800 or so, as far as a wick is concerned. But the resilience, even if you just take it to the 15-minute time frame, we can see the attempts to drop, and then the attempts to buy, and then drop, buy, drop, buy, drop, buy. There's a real battle going on here, and this is what I've been saying now for about a week, which is that, as on the higher term time frames, that being the weekly, even the monthly, I suppose, but the weekly especially, showing that a consolidation is required. Doesn't mean that it's in play until we've got a lower low. We've got a lower high at the moment. So a consolidation, I think, is still playing out on the weekly. But, when you take it down to the smaller time frames, obviously we've seen the 15-minute battles going on. You're going to have the same thing going on the 4 hourly, and this is where it's going to happen from. Now, like I say, it's boring for me to have to try and hash this out every morning, But this is the truth of it. I still stand by what I've done and my general main target on this is to buy altcoins and everybody else lower. Now, obviously, you'll see something like, I don't know, ICP or Chainlink moving up. You'll be, yeah, but hang on a minute. I mean, at the end of the day, those moves, as good as they are not the moves that I'm after. And by the way, just put it all out there, I own loads of Chainlink. I've been talking about buying Chainlink all that time. It was down at $6. ICP not so much, to be fair, but I still own it. So, I mean, there's a difference in hodl and trading. I explain this all the time. But all my trading's, focused on getting this lower low and then another lower low after that. So, let's feast our eyes on the Dixie, which closed like this, which in my opinion, is likely to cause a bit more of a sell-off in crypto today. Sundays often get sold off, especially if we're moving into a week that starts with a Dixie closing with a bullish engulfing candle like that, breaking out above all moving averages. Generally suggests that further upside is required. The S&P and the Nasdaq were propped up by Meta, who rallied 20% in a day on Friday. There's going to be some kind of pullback after a move like that, as you would expect in any market. So I'll be looking for down on stocks as soon as Monday opens, and probably further up on Dixie for a period of time now, to be honest with you. So that normally corresponds to crypto. Crypto, in a way, is like a leading indicator to stocks. I know that sounds silly, but it's kind of true, because it trades 24 hours. It's almost like a pre-market, isn't it, really? A permanent pre-market. And so if we start to see this sell-off, especially if we start closing down below this area, then it might even mark the top for stocks, because Dixie does look like it wants to start a real uptrend at this point now. Stocks more or less peaking, like S&P just below 5,000, a nice round number. A nice big move from Meta. Downside across the board for all the other stocks. A pullback on Meta, which is one of they call them the Magnificent Seven, who prop up the major indices. should spark further downside for all of those bad boys. And I think crypto is going to come down too. So I don't want to get everybody scared out of positions. I try to make this clear on the Patreon especially that, hodling is pretty much a decent strategy so long as you're not hodling the worst things in the world. If you're happy to hodl, you'll most likely win, because the biggest trades I did in both cycles were hodl trades. XRP in the first one, where I saw, that's the first time I'd seen 100x in my life. I did 100x, to be fair, it was close to it. So I bought around 3 cents and sold around 280, so it was close to 100x, not far off. I'll call it 100x. And then last cycle I did Matic, and it's not that I was targeting 100x's, they just ended up being 100x because I hodled through from those low entries. This time round, I'm still hodling quite a lot of stuff, to be honest, but from a trader's perspective, I expect the short-term timeframes to start to cave into the higher-term timeframes and create lower lows, breaking down back into and below 30, the upper 30s, maybe into the mid-30s. And maybe if we continue with the consolidation in other markets and we get upside on Dixie, we might even see Bitcoin break down below 30,000, right? Again, time and patience is what's required for this. I make these videos, like I say, every day, and some people just don't like it, because I can understand you're looking at a 15-minute time frame or whatever, and we all do it, and you see that it's breaking down, it's pumping up, breaking down, pumping up, breaking down, pumping up, breaking down, pumping up. It's all over the place. There's bulls and the bears are going to get wrecked from both sides, and I've tried to be as clear as possible. Since selling, effectively quite close to the top of this move at 48,000, being patient is the right way to be, because we're in the center of a range. The range being 48 to basically 38, $10,000 range. We're in the center of that range with conflicting information on different time frames. You can see the volatility even on the shorter term time frames, but I am one for looking at the larger picture, right? To try and operate the larger trades, rather than little, we're up today, you were wrong, did you not see that, we were up 2.5%, you were wrong. Says no, you don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Higher term time frames are begging for a longer, drawn-out consolidation. And we want that to happen, not just so we can buy lower prices. It's just that it's healthier to see that happen. Kind of need something like that to happen. If you want to see much higher prices, you will need to consolidate and chill out for a bit. You can't drive down the motorway on first gear, or even second gear, or even third gear. You need to change gears. And every time you change gear, you temporarily lose a little bit of power, right? And that's basically what consolidations are. So we're changing gears. First gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, right? We need to move into fifth and, depending on your car, a sixth gear. That's what we need. So you might argue that this is already the gear change. I think that this next gear change is going to be a bigger one in order to get the larger, more consistent run that's going to take us to a close to and above our previous all-time high. So, long story short, Dixie bullish engulfing candle, stocks approaching a nice fat round number, 5,000 on S&P. Meta pumped 20% on Friday, so it should most likely come down a little bit, just to chill out. All the other stocks were generally red, and looking at Bitcoin, although we're above most moving averages, they all end at below 41,800, so it's still a very tight range. And if you lose all of these areas, which is only a 2% drop. You lose all of those, we close 2% lower than where we are at this very moment in time on the daily. There's nothing to hold us, and we will come down to 38,000, and then probably lower than that over time. 38,000, by the way, is an area I'm particularly excited about for a really decent bounce, similar to this bounce, to be honest with you, but we'll keep our eyes on it. There's going to be plenty of opportunity to buy and scalp. We did it here ourselves. We did a 5% trade. That's not bad, 5% in a market like this, which is downtrending. We'll do more of those. But, I mean, as of this very moment in time, patience is what's required for this market. And the signs of consolidation are, they're presenting themselves in other markets. Look, I'm all up for further upside generally. That's why I hodl, but from a trader's perspective, the bigger trade is going to take place from a lower zone. We are waiting for the lower low, the next lower low to be had. Whether this is the higher, the lower high, and then we're going to make the lower low down and below 38, I don't know. But I'm happy to just chill out and wait. Scalping these small term timeframes are okay, but you really do have to think about the larger picture. If we are going to come down to 38 and then maybe even something like 28 over the next few months, then just, from what I'm trying to do here is to try and put all of that into perspective and make sure that when I allocate all my funds back into this market, I do it from a more acceptable level than this. It doesn't feel very acceptable. And for those of you who have missed it, I mean, this is a bit of a worry. Money flow index this high already on a monthly. Obviously, we've got the bearish divergence on that on the weekly. I just need it to consolidate. But 38,000 certainly is a decent place to start to think about accumulating for the long term. Anyway, other than that, I'll leave with you there. Nothing much more that I've said today than you've not already heard before. It's just worth hitting that message home for. It is my trading strategy. It doesn't have to be yours. And if you take trades here and you profit from them, congratulations. Right, I'll leave it with you there. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.